And there we go, I believe, if I've set everything up correctly at the very least. Hey there, Lux. Today... Hey there, Sess. Today we're gonna be doing something a bit different than usual. First and foremost, I consider this a just chatting stream because I'm just chatting with you guys. Also, if I look tired, I just look tired sometimes. Also, webcam down here is the bad one because I need the good one for this. You know, all this. So, today I'm just gonna be chatting with you guys as well as trying to fix these Joy-Cons because they have issues with drift on the sticks. And then the same friend who requested that also wanted to get them reshelled so that they have a color that he's more in favor of. I don't know how long this will take. I'm not a professional, so I also don't know if I'm gonna do a good job. Well, I do know that actually. I can do a good job. I did reshell my own Joy-Cons a while back, I think 2 years or something, so that I could have them purple. So I've done that. I've done it before, twice in fact. Let me see if I have the picture. Should have the picture ready. There. Yeah, I've also done this pair of Joy-Cons for Vox, which took a bit longer because it was hard to find two different colors that had exactly the right color, and the white buttons and everything. But aside from that, let's get going. The first thing we're going to be doing is just do some basic tests of these Joy-Cons. So here we are on the Switch. As you can see, I have the... Oh, you can't see the sticks anymore, but I am controlling these sticks. So let's see. This one is the right-hand one. Just for test. This seems to work perfectly fine. Interesting. Oh, I guess one of these Joy-Cons is actually perfectly fine. I will probably still switch the stick in it just because the ones that we get from Nintendo are prone to failure. Maybe I should keep this one. I'll think on that. This one is definitely fine though. Let's test the left one though. This one I know there are issues with. As you can already see, I'm not touching anything right now. And it's drifting all the way to the left. You can also see if I go in the spinny circle like with the other one. This is just a normal circle. This one has some serious issues. So this one is definitely gonna get swapped out. Oh, look at that. It cannot find center again. Yeah, so this Joy-Con is completely busted and I will fix that. So, let's shut this off so that we get the Joy-Cons to also shut off perfectly. I don't know if I'm going to be doing both of them today. It depends on how long it's going to take because I honestly don't remember how long it takes to do these. I haven't done one of these in over a year. I do know that there is a difference between the two though, in regards to difficulty, and that's because of the AR sensor that is on one of them. I'll probably do that one just to demonstrate. What we will need to be able to do this is basically just a tri-wing screwdriver, which is a screwdriver with three little legs, what are they called? Indents. There are many different sizes. I'm not going to advocate for where you should buy these things, because I don't have a go-to place nor an affiliate link or anything like that. But usually when you buy like the Joy-Con, the replacement Joy-Cons, you can get them in a pair of 2 or more. And they usually come with a lot of extra things like these red ones. There's actually 2 more here. Screwdrivers as well as everything here except for these 2. All of this actually came with these. Just to make sure that you have the equipment to be able to replace them. Likewise, this screwdriver with the replaceable head came with the casing, which also came with the buttons. You're not always that lucky, but I wasn't my case. Just look at the listing if you're unsure what you're getting to make sure that you get exactly what you want. Something else to be aware of though, we're not going to be using the majority of these buttons, only the black ones, because I do want to replace the cyan buttons on the side because they won't match the green shell. So I think it's better to just make them blue, not blue, black. And what else? There was one more thing. Yes, in regards to the Joy-Cons shells themselves, when buying these, always make sure that you are aware what color the inlet splitter is. I wouldn't normally go for a black one. I do like it when it has the color of the actual shell, just like it does on the official. This one is actually slightly decolored, isn't it? But specifically with these green ones, it was really hard to find green in general at a price that was okay. So I just settled with it. This will give the effect, I actually have an example. Having the black one will just give the effect of a PlayStation controller. Let me just focus a bit here so you can see better. Where there's this indent here between the buttons, which should be fine. It'll look all right. It's not that noticeable. I'm also using the wrong zoom. But I just personally would have preferred it if it wasn't that color. The red screwdrivers give me a evil minion vibe. If it had been tools from a game. Really? I guess so. Anyway, I guess we should just get going. The reason my hair is all kinds of weird today is basically just because I needed to not get in the way. So, this is a tri-ring screwdriver, the one with the 3 indents, because we need to get off the initial shell. The good thing about the Joy-Cons in comparison to, for instance, the PlayStation controller is that these are actually surprisingly easy to work on. I tried to work on a PlayStation controller at one point because I was curious. If you need to replace anything on one of those, you basically have to know how to solder things with a soldering iron, because everything's just completely stuck to the board. Meanwhile, the PlayStation, no, not the PlayStation, the Switch controllers here are actually surprisingly modular, which makes them incredibly easy to service. I say as if I do service jobs, but... Oh, also, if we do end up losing screws, I don't have them nearby, but both of these sets came with a lot of extra screws, so we shouldn't have an issue. Now, in regards to opening the Joy-Con, we're gonna use this one, I think, which should be as easy as... I just need to find an entry point. You see the crevice around here? There we go. All you really need to do is just find a place. You can push this in. I'm probably gonna use my nail there. Oh, actually that was surprisingly easy. I just run it across here and now it is open. Now be careful when you open these though, because the ribbon cables, that's these two, they can be fragile and you don't want to ruin those or break those, because that's gonna be expensive. But this is the inside of a, probably change the zoom. There, this is the inside of a Joy-Con. I'm holding it upside down, obviously, but you know. Now what we need to do, let me just, I haven't done this in a while, so give me a moment. I need this shell off, which I need a normal, I think it's called a Phillips head screwdriver. I hope this one is not too big. There we go. It's probably not a bad idea to keep track of which screws go where, so you can remove them later. This here, I'll put them back in later. This here should be enough to allow us to do that. Be aware, there is that button here. It can fall out, so just make sure you don't lose that. We will need that. This here is now completely useless for us. I will be giving this to my friend so that if he ever wants to sell them back again, he can do that, obviously. I might even give him a pair of the screwdrivers just because I have so many of them at this point. Now, let me think. We need the middle board out now. To do that, we need to get to the screw here. Let me see there. The screw here, the screw down here, and the screw over here. These 3 screws hold down this board that is in the middle. It should be relatively simple to get out. Not about a screwdriver. But before that, we actually do need to take into consideration that we have the battery, which is connected here, as well as this sensor here, which goes all the way down here and is attached right there. Now the sensor isn't an issue because it's, no actually, yeah, the sensor we will have to pull out. I hate ribbon cables, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I think getting the battery, I can't remember the order. Why did I pick this difficult controller? There's gonna be a lot of me stumbling around like someone who doesn't know what they're doing because I haven't done this in a long time. I need the battery out. Now, when working with a battery, never use metal tools because it's a battery. You do not want to accidentally put a hole in it or anything. I don't know why I was trying to do it from that side. I think it's because I'm afraid of this ribbon cable, but there is a place here where you can just push this tool in. You will hear tape ripping, and that's because this thing is taped down to the board. It should be sticky enough that once we put it back in, the battery won't just, you know, rattle around. It takes a bit of force sometimes, because some of this tape is very sticky. But we have the battery out. Now there's going to be a lot of me juggling around components at some point. Just be aware of that. This cable is surprisingly solid, so as long as you make sure that it doesn't pull on the board too much, it should be fine. This tip is also really easy to just carefully pull out like that. Now that we remove these components from the middle board, let me think. That there is a ribbon cable that goes to the bottom of the board. We will have to deal with that, but I think for now we can at the very least unscrew this board. Also, I pressed the button on that. I kind of want to remove the battery. Can I do that? Let me see what kind of... Okay, when removing the battery... Oh, I need to change the zoom entirely now. There. When removing the battery, you will be working with... what can I point with? Screwdriver? This thing right here. The important thing here is to not pull on the slightly more cream colored part, but just the top white part, because otherwise you will pull it off the board, which will make it impossible to reapply the battery. These are very small, delicate components. This is probably why this here is here. So I will be going in and just grabbing onto the white part and pulling ever so carefully. Yeah, almost thought I caught it, but probably it's a bit hard to get to it. Okay, I am actually afraid because this is really pointy compared to what I thought it would be. I don't want to break it. Maybe I just leave it be, actually. It should be fine. It's not like there's that much voltage coming out of it. So we'll just move on to... there. Sorry about the zoom. The camera is not that great with zoom, so I control it manually. Which means there will be a lot of manual changes. Okay, let's remove this and see what happens. Okay, so now the board should be loose, as you can also see. Interesting sounds. It's all the ribbon cables, but it's fine. There is that ribbon cable right there. The easiest way to deal with that... Oh yeah, the button is loose. Can I? No, I cannot. Do I pull off the button? Do I think what I'm gonna do... This one is a bit tricky because, as you can see, there is not a lot of give in this specific ribbon cable. It's also really hard to tell what's going on. I'll point. This cable right here is what I want out. Wait to make it sound like you know what you're doing. I have no clue what I'm doing. Ribbon cables are usually attached to a little clasp. Clamp? What is it called? One of those things that click. I really don't want to... The problem with these tweezers that came with the thing is that they're incredibly sharp. So I'm a bit afraid of using them, but if I'm just being careful, I should be able to... I'm not going to use them. I kind of want to use my nail, to be honest. Ribbon cable is only just barely long enough. Okay, you know what? Change of strategy. I am gonna do the thing that I hate the most. This button right here has a, well, this physical button has a border right underneath it, which has the actual button that it presses, as you can hear. That button can break if you do this wrong. I've done that on my own. I managed to repair it. Otherwise, I have to buy a spare part. And this thing is crammed in a way that I don't like to work with. It doesn't help that all these things hang loose. Makes it a bit harder. So I'm gonna do that with battery at the very least. Now, how do I get this? Maybe I should have checked this before I started because I don't quite recall the mechanism. But thankfully, we have a reference board. Okay, let's have a look. I'm gonna take the yellow one instead, because then you guys can also see what's going on. I have a yellow one. So, it's attached to this thing right here, which, as far as I can tell, has two round things where it attaches to. Which means to get it out, I need to know the shape of the button. Okay, I have a reference button. Because this came with a spare button. This... Okay, so when it is like this, you can tell, or you cannot tell because it's so dark. There. You can tell that here, there's a shape where it's open at the bottom, and then it's... so basically I need to push it like that to get it out. That should be relatively straightforward, is what I want to say, but then there is that railing right there. So I need to push it up and out, is what I'm thinking. How do I do that? I hope my friend doesn't watch this, because it's probably not going to be very reassuring that I'm like 90% unsure what I'm doing while I'm doing this. But I've gotten good results before, so... And to be fair, if I end up breaking anything, I will of course pay for replacement. So what I'm basically trying to do right now is get this above the threshold of that edge, and then also pushing it up, but without applying pressure on the button underneath it, which is a bit tricky, it turns out. Oh, there we go. That sounded good. Then just slide across. There we go. Now I can also show you exactly what I meant. This button right here. That one is so easy to break. Also, these two springs, they just go pull out like that. They're gonna be the bane of my existence once I need to put the button back on, which is why I hate putting this button, taking this button off. Which one was this? Wait. So this is ZR. There. Just need to make sure that I don't mix up my references. So now that we have this off, we have access to this small board, which means now I can remove it from here by doing that. And with that out of the way, we can once again remove the battery, which is of course stuck again, because this tape is actually surprisingly adhesive on second apply as well. Okay, this is... And third apply, apparently. There we go. No, don't fall back in, I need you out. There we go. Also, an interesting detail about this, now that I have it open anyway, and remove the middle part, you'll notice this sticker right here. That sticker is an indicator for water damage. I promise he is watching. Wonderful. So if you ever, if an actual service person ever opens a Joy-Con and sees this sticker being completely pink, they might just refuse to service it, because then that means water damage has happened. We shouldn't need to take these off. Those are... well, actually, those might be a good idea too. I'll think on it. Also, I just realized, wasn't I supposed to... I feel like I've forgotten a component somewhere. But yeah, now we got that out. Won't need this again anymore. So now we have access to the main board of this thing. There we go. And that is what that looks like. Now, you really don't want to... Why is there a piece of plastic in here? Huh. Did I break off a piece of the... One moment. No, it didn't, from what I can see. So. Oh yeah, if the table moves, it's because it's just a plate I have on top of my table. But yeah, here's the inside of the controller. We want to replace this from the board itself, which means we will need to take it out. This is also the part that we had issues with before. Ribbon cables. That's the thing that's going to take the most time. You'll also notice that there is a ribbon cable that goes right here, and it goes underneath. That is also going to be annoying to deal with. This here we can just have floating as is, and the battery is technically... Oh, that's the rumble motor, not the battery. I was trying to remove the rumble motor. The battery's down here on the black thing. Huh. Okay. I think this ribbon cable here is what goes to the AR sensor, but I might be wrong. I think the next thing we're gonna do is just straight up remove the stick. Sorry, I don't keep it centered. I swear it looks like a Lego piece. To remove it, I need to open this latch right here. Isn't that how it works? Let's see. It is inverse of the other one, yeah. So this latch needs to be open so that the ribbon cable can be pulled out. I just need to not scratch the board, that's important. So no sudden movements. There we go. And now I can grab the ribbon cable. This ribbon cable we don't actually care that much about because it is for the Joy-Con that we know has drift. Or the stick, I guess. Man, it is tight in there. Oh wait, come to think of it, this is the stick that actually worked. Huh. Well, I'll replace it anyway, I guess. So now we just remove the screws for that. Thankfully, a lot of these screws are identical. They use like 3 different sets of screws. So if you just keep them grouped and remember which type of screw goes where, you can't mess it up completely. So, one thing to be aware of when removing the stick is that there is a sticker layer around the hole, which you don't want to break. We need to use that for the other... There we go. You can see it right there, the black sticker right there. We need that for the other shell. But for now, we've completely removed this. This should technically be a good stick, but I'll still replace it. Now, I will say the 2 new sticks I did buy, bought them off Amazon. There's always a risk that you get bad sticks, so technically I would have wanted to buy more, because the moment I put one of these in, it might just not work or have drift already. Now, unfortunately, that's the world we live in when you don't have a supplier that you can necessarily rely on, but... It's also a slightly different texture on the stick itself, interestingly. Should be fine. As long as it works, right? The next thing we want to do... Let me just have a look. Let me think. I want to unscrew this here. The reason I'm doing that is first and foremost that I don't have this big piece of plastic that I need to juggle around with, but also because then we can replace the buttons on it, which we did want to do. I think this might be a slightly smaller screw. No, it's not. Good. Oh no, it's exactly the same. Okay, cool. It's kind of funny because the different sizes of screws are technically also color-coded. The ones right here are like a gold, and the shorter ones are silver. But yeah, with that, we remove the board, so we can remove the buttons. Where did the other one go? Wait, one. Oh, there. Now, even though we have replacement buttons, they do come with a rubber membrane underneath them. That we will need to, yeah, exactly like that, take out and reuse as well. There's also the sync button, this one, which we will also need to put back in, obviously. For now, I'll just keep these here. I thought this would disconnect it entirely, but I guess... Why is that ribbon cable? This one goes to the board with the... Oh! That's the board for the buttons, as well as the indicator with the lights. I guess this is the charge cable. That also makes sense in regards to where it goes to on the main board itself, right next to the battery. In that case, I'm just gonna put the buttons back in, the black ones, and screw this back on so that at least it's one big piece that is here. These are the... Oh, this is the left controller? What? No, it's not. Need an SL and an SR. Okay. Take them out of this. It's supposed to be like that? It is. It's supposed to be like that. Okay, cool. So we'll take the small membrane out of this and put it over in the black button. And we do the same for the other one. There we go. And then I need to remember which one is R and which one is... Oh, actually you can't mess that up because there is... Oh, can I show that off? In the controller's case itself, there's a small indent right here, which you can barely see right there, which corresponds to an indent and a small piece right there, as you can see. So it is impossible to mess it up. So this just goes right here. And this one just goes... It have something similar? It does, but it's inverse. Clever. This goes right here. There. And of course the final button goes right here. So now that these buttons are swapped, we can put the back. This is the easiest part. Swapping these buttons is the absolute easiest part. I wish the battery wasn't in the way. I could remove it, obviously. Now we just need the board back. Ribbon cables are a nightmare. Okay, I'm gonna... How do you remove that battery cable? I've never done that before. No, I don't think I can just pull on it, so I'm gonna keep working like this, even though it's annoying. Some professional is probably gonna be cringing. Would you mind? Sorry about that. I forgot my notifications are not turned off right now. Wonderful. Okay, so this goes right here. Now we just need, I think this is, yes, it is magnetic. We just need that piece right back here. This doesn't feel right. Did I do something wrong? There are only two of those, so it has to be these. Oh, and for anyone wondering, the music is just Genshin Impact background music, because this was a bit impromptu, so I ended up just picking something that was nice and quiet. If it ever gets copyright struck, I might need to unlist or take this stream down after the fact, but there we go. So now that should be there, and these should work. That works. Interesting, it feels... Why do they feel... That doesn't feel right. What did I do wrong? They don't seem like they're proper in there. Okay. This is gonna be a bit hard for you guys to see. There. Because I need to work down on the table at the moment. I didn't do this right. This is the easiest part, he says. And then proceeds to not do it right. What did I do wrong? It's supposed to go there. Oh, are these not as tall as the original ones? No, they're identical. What am I doing wrong? It's supposed to go in there and then sit there. Yeah, that seems about right now. Maybe I just didn't... Maybe it got loose before I... Oh, that's probably what happened. I must have pressed it before I... Okay, where did that one go? How long is this taking? It's taking half an hour, and the only thing I've done is try and replace 2 buttons. This is why this might take a while. Why we're probably only going to do 1 Joy-Con on stream. Okay, so with these proper placed, I'm going to put the board back on. Oh, you know what? I think I know what I did wrong. There are these anchor points on the casing itself that this needs to fit into, and I think I might have misaligned it ever so slightly. Why does it feel like it? Does it not? I know my head's probably blocking everything right now. I'm sorry. Does anyone ever use these buttons for anything though? Okay, I need like 3 hands right now. I swear. Come on. You might be magnetic, but you're still gonna be a pain in the butt. There. So here... Oh yeah, that feels better this time. That should... Why did I not... Am I not screwing it far enough in? The problem is I don't want to tighten this too much because it can actually damage components if you do that. It also needs to be tight enough that the buttons still connect proper. And therein lies the issue, doesn't it? It's like the board is just not... Then again, this is gonna be up against the case, and once it is, this should just work. So I'd say that this was a successful operation of replacing the buttons, even though they feel a bit weird right now. But when I hold my hands like this, The buttons work fine. So this should be fine. Okay. That was the easy part. Where to go from here? We need the board. Like, a lot of these steps we obviously wouldn't need to do if you just need to replace the Joy-Con. At that point, we've gone far beyond that. Joy-Con, replace the stick itself. But we need this out of the casing. To do that, we need to remove that screw right there, that screw right there. And I would be surprised if... I could be surprised. There are no screws in this section, so these two are the only ones holding it back, still holding it in the casing. What is happening when I do that though is that we have a ribbon cable here, which with how black it is, I think that's actually the one that goes here. We also have a ribbon cable here, which I'm wondering if it's the one that goes to the rumble motor. That should be the two only things stopping us from just removing the board. So what I can do... I could... The smart thing, the professional thing to do here, which I'm not going to do, is to remove the ribbon cables out of their housings so that these will stay behind. If I do that though, I will need to reapply the ribbon cables, which I don't want to do. So I'm going to take these two components and remove them instead from the casing so that they can go with the board. Now, I think this one does have some adhesive in it as well, which means either that or it is just lost in there with... No, I hear adhesive. Okay. So you can really just push it around inside the limited amount of space there is in the case, and then you'll hear the cracking sound, which is just the tape. There's nothing to fear there. What do you think of it? This one shouldn't have a ribbon cable because it goes to that one. What is that other ribbon cable then? The home button? But yeah, that takes care of that. This one has adhesive set to itself instead of the case, apparently. Yeah, here we can see the black ribbon cable going around for this sensor. The sensor should really just, let me think, come right out. Oh, is this ribbon cable attached with adhesive as well? It is. Okay, be a bit careful with that then. Yeah, this is a stronger ribbon cable to be fair, so you can pull a bit more on it than the other ones. Now we're gonna remove these two screws. This is gonna probably look like a freaking nightmare to anyone who knows what they're doing. Okay, the small silver ones are the ones that go on the board itself. Noted. So with those two screws out, we should theoretically be able to just take this board and lift it. And then I can see there is something here that's holding us back. What is that attached to? Okay, one of the buttons just fell out. That is fine. That is attached to the home button. What? No, it's not. The home button comes right out. What is that? That ribbon cable right there is attached to this black piece of plastic? Okay, we can take this and pull it out the last bit. There. Now it's just that ribbon cable. What is that? I mean, if it's attached to the piece of plastic, we should theoretically just be able to pull that out as well. Of course, it has adhesive as well. Oh, it does it. Hey, Seth. Welcome to the disaster zone. Again, sorry if my head gets in the way. There we go. It is attached to this. What is this? Oh, is that... Okay, I think this is one of the newer models of controllers. This has a wire running all around it. This might very well be the... No, I have no clue. I honestly have no clue. Well, yeah, here we go. Joy-Con without shell. Now, all the buttons, of course, needs to go onto this. We'll need all of those later. And then again, this piece of plastic here, it helps protect the insides. So we want to take that out of this and put it over in the new case. Now comes the fun part of putting all of this back into the... This is perfectly usable. You can use this, right? You can play with this. This looks like I just broke the damn thing. Okay. This is on purpose. It's supposed to look like this. It is funny though, that despite how torn apart it looks, this is technically still a functional controller. It just lacks the stability of a case around it. I should probably pull these two out as well, since they do help with stabilizing the stick itself. This would be... Yeah, I'm gonna take this real quick. Oh, also, obviously, if you're working with anything like this electronics, be aware of static electricity. You don't want to short any components just because you didn't think of that. I don't have any of those things that prevent static electricity, but I did walk over and touch the radiator beforehand. It almost sounded like you knew what you were talking about then. Yeah, sometimes I do sound smart. It's purely on accident, I assure you. Let's see. So with this thing, I kind of want to take these pieces and move them over here. I believe these are very light adhesive. Or are they? Are these actually removable? No, I do not want to do that. I can feel that these are very sharply in there. They do help though with keeping the Joy-Con flush in there. They shouldn't technically be necessary. We do want to move this piece though, because this is to help prevent dust. Someone wrote? Wait, someone's written inside this. Someone's written C and 13. Wait, someone's also written of this piece. I can't tell what it says, but... What the... Also on this one. Right there. What the heck is going on here? Who writes on these components? I thought a machine took care of them. Huh. Anyway, this piece here is only adhesive on the corners. So all you need to do is just pull ever so slightly, carefully. Not to break it, obviously, because it's still very thin plastic. There. Then over here as well. It has like 2 anchor points. Now we can take this. We can take it over here. We can plop it down. Not there. Not there. Still not there. Around here. And you'll need to guide it using the small indents and the holes on the... Stuck to me instead of the controller. It's a bit tricky. Oh, wow. Never mind. I was about to say it's a bit tricky to get it just right, but that was actually surprisingly flush. There we go. Replaced it. Now this is technically ready. It really bothers me I can't get these pieces out, but it'll have to do. Worst case, if there will be problems with this controller in the future, I can try and put some... That's actually also just a general advice. These pieces here are basically the same idea. These are like half a millimeter thick, I think. And what they can do is that they will push on the backside of your Joy-Con to put them proper flushed against the controller. What you can do as a replacement for these is just take some... What is it called? cooling pads that you use in PCs, and they will do exactly the same job. I do believe I have some of that somewhere. I don't think it's thin enough for this job though. So for now we'll just do without. Worst case, it doesn't take that much to open up and get to this specific point of the case, so I can repair it later if my friend decides that it doesn't work. It should work. Now, we have an empty case. I hate this part so much. Especially because, why did they decide to add this? I don't remember this being a thing. It's like an extra layer of complexity that I did not expect nor want. Before we do any of that, we need the buttons back in place, because otherwise we're not getting very far. B is at the bottom. Y is what I ask myself every day. Come on. What I'm asking it right now. Why won't you stay in place? Am I doing this wrong? Wait. Okay, it has these indentations. Wait, is it because I'm trying to put it? I'm trying to put it in the wrong one. There. I need to mirror it. Right. A goes here. And then... Oh, I should probably keep it up here so you guys can see proper. And X goes here. As you can see, the buttons have, again, small indents. That means that it is impossible to apply them wrong. Even though I'm trying really hard. There. So it fits perfectly. Here is the plus button, which goes in like this from what I can tell. Okay. Come on. There. And it needs a little rubber membrane that needs to go above it. And then we have the home the home button, which I think has an LED in it actually. Goes like that, and then which like so? Yeah, like so. Okay. So that's all the buttons back in place. No, it's not. I forgot the membrane for this thing. There. The most annoying part now is to not accidentally push on the back side of these buttons so that they go straight through again. So, with all that back in place, now we need the board back. And now I wish I had a holder for this. I don't. So we're doing it. I hate this. How? I feel like I ask myself this every time I get to this point. How from here? Okay. I'm gonna utilize these two. To hold this. There. Also that you can see it there. So now it doesn't push the buttons. Now I need to get an idea of how this is supposed to go in. So this is opposite of how it should be. So I need it like this. This goes in first. How is a Yu-Gi-Oh character fair? Okay. And then this one flips over. Okay. This is actually like that. Yes. Oh, okay. As I also wrote in the description, I am not a professional. That's why this looks very unprofessional. Okay. So that goes there. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't have the adhesive anymore. So now I tip all of that over. Okay, so far so good. Ribbon cable still looking good. Take this with me. Okay, something is In the way. Everything is in the way. No, 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 no. I need to stay there. There. Okay. What is wrong? What is wrong is that this needs to be pushed back here. Why can't I do that? Why can't I do that? What in the world is keeping you from doing that? Ribbon cable, huh? Wait, really? That is one strong ribbon cable. What the? Whatever this newfangled extra board is, I don't like it. It's complicating this process more than it needs to. Okay, there we go. I managed to push it in. Again, just be careful. Ribbon cables can be fragile. You don't want to break them. There, that should do it. So this should be able to just pop right in again. Like so. And I don't think there's any adhesive on that itself. No, there is not. And there's this, which is now stuck to the battery, because why not? This should just be able to go straight in there. Okay, look at that. We have something that's starting to look like a controller again. Okay. By pushing it ever so gently, we can get it back in place. Sudden child issue. Okay, fair enough. That happens. Now, I want those two... Which two was it that was holding down the board on their own? Oh, I think I see it. There. There. It's supposed to go like this. So it's these two right here that I need to put back in. If I remember correctly, these were the silver ones, aka short ones. Is this a try? No, it's not. I should be able to... Now, the one risk you do run with third-party... Oh, real quick. Don't screw that too tightly in. You don't want to damage the board. But yeah, one risk you do run with third-party shells like these is that they might not be a 100% accurate fit. And sometimes the screw holes just don't work. I have had that happen before. Had to get very creative. But yeah, look at that. We're almost halfway with one of the controllers. Now it'll feel like this one keeps popping up. That's entirely just because that screw down here in this corner is not applied yet, right here. That should be fine. It's because of the ribbon cable at the moment. I don't see anything that's... Wait, or is it because the button? No, it's working as supposed to. I was just turned on my home button, you buffoon. Okay, so it should be fine. It should be fine. I know I keep saying that, but it's because I'm not 100% sure on what I'm doing, as I also said. So now we should be able to apply the middle part, which should very easily slide in. That one right there is going to be a bit of an issue. Do let me know if you need me to adjust the focus. No, it's actually looking fine. Again, we have a lot of cable that runs around this. But the moment we get this piece in, everything's going to start falling into place. Now, we need this one to go through here, obviously. And then we need this one to not be stuck on it, because it needs to go up and into the small crevice here, which thankfully this 3D print did account for. then sit in this small indent right here. That's close enough for now. And then we just need the battery over here. Now there's no adhesive on this battery right now. It should be fine. Should be perfectly fine, to be honest. But it does mean that when you move it around, the controller might rattle a bit. It should not, well, it will not affect functionality. I'm a bit confused why this cable does not seem to proper fit in the indent. Let's use a piece of plastic. Push it gently. I'm not convinced it's going there. This is what I meant with 3D print not necessarily being 100%. Let's have a look. They look incredibly similar, but I think this new one might be a bit thinner. That is a slight issue for being able to fit in the cable. But I think as long as we can run it along the same edge, like so, it shouldn't be a problem. As long as this can still fit in. Yeah, that fits fine. So there. It's not 100%, which bothers me a bit, but as long as I keep it there when I close it, it should not do anything bad for the assembly. Okay, so we've now done most of the controller, and it's starting to look like a Joy-Con again. That only took an hour. We're getting to one of my least favorite bits though, which is this button specifically. Because of the springs. The damn springs. The one more thing to be aware of when you're reshelling, which I should probably have said up front, is that most buttons will feel exactly the same depending on the print quality and how you reassemble the Joy-Con. That is correct. The shoulder buttons might feel weirdly squishy or weird. That's a good point, Vox. I forgot about this, the stick. I forgot about the stick. Should probably have thought of that, shouldn't I? Well, that is slightly embarrassing. So, now that we roll back a bit, let's put one of the Joy-Con sticks back in. It's relatively simple. It's really just plop it into the hole, then screw it back in. We need the ribbon cable to not be stuck like that. There. Now we screw it back in with yellow screws, golden screws, whatever you want to call them. I don't understand the problem. I thought the stick was the issue. That's why we removed it. There. And this one. And screw it back in. If you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to ask, by the way. Feels like a stick. It's not connected, that's why it's not registering at all. Because we need that ribbon cable to be lost back into the ribbon cable connector. I do not like this part. Ribbon cables are hard to work with. Why did I screw it in first now that I think about it? I think it might be easier to connect the ribbon cable beforehand. This is very touch and go. I'm actually fairly certain it's going to be easy to connect the ribbon cable beforehand. Because now what I can do... Is that dangerous for the computer? What, to not have the stick in it? Oh, there is a magnet in the screwdriver. No, the magnet is sufficiently weak that it doesn't actually affect the components. So that's not an issue. It's also mainly, magnets are mainly an issue in regards to storage devices. Old school storage devices specifically. There. So now we just need to press this back in here and we need to do it gently. Okay, focus is not going to make any difference. The problem, we also need to make sure that this is actually not closed. It's open. Now we take that and we wiggle it in, and then very gently we need to push it in. I think that did it. And of course we need to lock the mechanism again so that it's latched onto it. Needs to be closed proper. Now I guess we could test it by... Oh, that button doesn't register when you click it at all. Okay, so I guess I can't test... Okay, this is a really not great test way of doing it. But I'm gonna do it that way anyway. I need this piece of plastic to stay in place every time I do this, please. Here. I'm gonna pull a bit on the ribbon cable to see if it comes out. It seems to be stuck in there, so I think I have now done that correctly. If the stick doesn't work at all, let me think. You know what? Here's a funny thing you can do. I don't recommend this. This is technically functional right now. So if I just hold there and press the start button. Now this is connected to... Let me show you. Nope, that's the wrong button. Does it work at all? Stick doesn't seem to be working, so I don't think I've tested proper. From the looks of it. Okay. Bites that again. That is a bit annoying. It's either that or this is a stick that just doesn't work. I want to have a look at this real quick. No, it's supposed to look like that. Okay, so I'm assuming I just didn't push this far enough back into where it needs to go. So magnets aren't dangerous in this day and age. I mean, magnets are still technically dangerous for some tech. I'm not very well versed in this specific field. I just know that the screwdriver magnets are perfectly fine to use for these kind of things. It's weird, I thought this would be enough. And again, it was really far in there previously. This is hard to do. also want to break it is the thing. Come on. That should do the trick. Feels completely fine. Try and turn it on again. Okay, come on. I guess I'll just keep it. Okay, the stick seems to work now. I'm not going to showcase it on screen because that's a bit more work. But yeah, it works. So that was just a matter of me having not... Why is it acting like that? Okay, it's probably just because it's not screwed in yet. Gonna turn it off, screw it in, and then we're gonna test proper. It was scrolling up and down on its own, which... that's a bit sus. Why does it not feel like it fits in proper anymore? Probably the ribbon cable, to be honest. Okay. This is technically a functional Joy-Con right now. I'm gonna try and test it. Just need to get back in the right menu because I accidentally clicked myself completely out of it. Okay, so as you can see, right now I'm controlling using, you can't see that, but I'm controlling using that controller. So now we can test. So this actually works. A perfect circle. And if I do this, it snaps back. So this is a functional stick. It feels a bit different from the original, but it's nothing you won't notice unless you did just what I just did and had it in hand. But this works. This is a fully functional controller. So now I'm gonna turn that off again. Put the camera back on. So now that I remembered to do that, thank you, Vox. Let's put the middle shell part back in again. Should be as simple as that. There. And then, let me see. This one needs to not be stuck underneath it. I think the battery goes above there. This one needs to sit in this little crevice. And then was this cable that wasn't really fit proper, but it is fine. I can probably push it down a bit here to get rid of some of the extra length. Yeah, if I had the tools for it, I would probably have shaved off a bit of the plastic so that this would proper fit in here. So right now it does not, and it is potentially gonna affect things. That is something we need to keep in mind. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. For now we have this. Now this button is a bit of an annoying one, because despite how many times I've done this, which is 2 times before, well technically 4 times before since 4 controllers, fitting this back into place and having it actually stay proper in place is surprisingly hard. Despite there being a guiding pin to put it in, and also the casing guiding it proper. And it's in part because the ribbon cable wants to pull it upwards, which is super annoying. I believe this one was another golden one. No, wait a second. This is shallow. Was this a silver? No, I think it's a golden one. This is what I meant about remembering to keep track of these. I will know if this either doesn't seem to do anything, which it doesn't. Might be a silver then. Is it the hard Joy-Con or is this the other one? This is the hard one because it had the infrared sensor. Well, at least on the original sets, this would be the hard one. I don't know anymore. Oh yeah, this one actually lets us on. Here's a prime example of what I meant. One moment. I need the board to be flush with its indentation. I need to tighten the screw proper. Not so much that I damage the board. Oh, this one is actually staying in place, unlike the other ones I've done. Cool. I kinda there was a silver screw there, right? Because then it's a golden one in this corner down here. I know. Back in here. Down here. Now we have 1 silver and 2 golds left. 1 silver and 2 gold. No screw holes under here. There are 2 screw holes right here, there and there. There's 1 here. Is that a silver one? I believe these 2 must be gold. Because they are identical and both there to hold in the board. Since we have no one else left, this should make sense. So yeah, that would be a silver one on the bottom there, and then a silver one on the one right here. The AR sensor in place. Or infrared, IR. Okay, look at that. It's actually looking like a controller again. I'm still worried about this cable. Still worried about this cable. We'll see when we get there. Wait a second. Is there? Was I supposed to go? Was I supposed to take a screw through one of these? It's supposed to sit like this, right? Yeah, which means no screw. Okay, but before we get to that, there's a very important button we're lacking. Now, I need to do this, put that in there, that's a spring. And then the other spring, and I hate this part so much because you need an incredibly steady hand. And one of my tools just fell. There. Okay. I'm sorry that it's not closer, but I can only... Why is that not working? No, that is the best zoom. I can only do so much from this with this setup, unfortunately. So this button, I'm also realizing I forgot the other shoulder button. We'll have to put that in after the fact. No, we'll do that now, actually. The other shoulder button is super easy to put in. I just need to unscrew the board. Again. And then this one. Which want to, there we go. So now I have access to this again. All I need to do is take this and put it back in here. Wait, where's the spring supposed to go? Spring is supposed to sit in that small white indent there. So otherwise the button won't work proper. Then, like so. And it feels perfectly fine. Now we just need to put it back in place with screws, which are not cooperating at all. There. I'm off center again, sorry. Maybe I should have moved my camera slightly. Too late now. Over an hour in. Okay, so now we have working button there, right? So back to the annoying one. First we plug in the springs. Which is easier said than done when you're me, apparently. What, do you mind? Stop. Why do you keep doing that? Okay. There. And there. Now the main reason why these are... Oh, no, that's on the back. I looked at this and was like, wait, did I forget another button? No. Well, springs again. I doubt this is going to be the last time we're going to apply these springs. Because they have tendency to want to get out of there. So on the button itself, this is the correct one, right? Set R. Set R, yeah. On the back of the button itself, it has these, oh there, you can see them. These notches. They need to go inside the spring, but I also need to get it to fit proper in up here at the same time. All of that without breaking the button at the actual board. So, this I'm not sure if I can do on cam proper. You will probably not be able to see it at the very least, because I need to get them there. And what? And from above, gently push it down into where it needs to go, but not with so much force that you accidentally hit the button and break it. This is the tough part. I hate this so much. Didn't do that right. No, I did not. Okay, it also didn't apply proper. You're still fine? You're still fine, okay. This might take a while. You have been warned. Okay, we have the springs in place. Did that actually damage it? Well, that's unfortunate. I think I might have accidentally broken it. Which means I will need to buy a new controller or a new... We'll be able to see once I'm in. Get off. Ah, spring. Oh, yeah, the part of the bottom just fell off. Okay, what part is that? The actual bottom top? The casing, because a corner of it... Okay, let's make this educational, shall we? Shoot, I really hope this wouldn't happen. I knew it was a possibility, unfortunately. So you see that part there, right? This part right here, that is the button. It has a casing around it at the top, which is this. Just put it there, I guess. It holds down the physical, come here, button on top of it, which is being pressed. Now what happened is that I accidentally broke off this leg down in this corner so that the casing fell off. I can potentially put this back on. The problem is I can see I have the piece of the casing that broke off right here. Give me a moment to investigate how bad it is. That corner has also broken off. These two are fine. Okay. So while I wanted to give this back to my friend this upcoming weekend, it seems like I might need to buy a spare part to replace this board. That is unfortunate because I don't think I can repair this. Because I can put the button back on, no problem. Okay, if I wasn't dimwit, I could put it on no problem. Like so. But if the casing can't be attached back on and stick, then, my goodness, why am I such a fumble fingered? Okay. So again, I hope my friend isn't watching this because I just broke their controller. Man, these pieces are so small. The easiest fix is the easiest and probably the only fix I can really do is to buy a new board for that. This specific board right there, which you cannot see because the focus is all kinds of out of whack right now. This board right there. Because I don't think I can... It lacks 2 attachment legs, or attachment points. That'll keep everything stably in place. The most annoying thing is, this is kind of like speedrunning, to be honest. You can be so close to the end, but one mess up ruins everything. Man, I am not as steady-handed as I used to be. That's actually really annoying. I know my head's probably in the way right now. I apologize for that. Okay, so what I managed to do now is that the casing and the button is technically back on, but because it lacks the 2 anchor points, it will come off. What can I do? I think I did the same thing with my own controller. Well, how did I fix that? I could theoretically just try and assemble it now, and it might actually not break. Let's get the zoom up here. As you can see, I put it back on. It seems to be on there pretty well, but not as well as it could. Like, it is loose because, again, it's lacking 2 anchor points on the same side. That's actually the most unfortunate part. Both of them are over here on the same side. But theoretically, no. I'd be tempted to try and just put this together, but I'm also doing this for someone else. If this was my own controller, I would have just assembled the rest of it. And then I'm fairly certain this can actually, focus again. I'm fairly certain that this will not fall apart because of how, because of how the button pressure is applied, because the button pressure is always pushing like right here. As you can see, the button doesn't seem to move that much when you do that. So I think this could still work. It might eventually break. It will eventually break. But again, since this is not for myself, I'm gonna stop the work on this here. And I'm gonna buy a new part, I guess. But yeah, the problematic part, what happened, just for an explanation, is that when you attach this piece, you can see this here, this area right there, is, can I show that from a different angle? It has, come on light, where's my light? There. It's taller right there, this here, because that's where it's supposed to press the button. The problem is that when you're trying to press it back into place, it can, my goodness, it's slippery. It can take this edge right there, that you still can't see right now, the edge of it, and it will press against the edge of it, at the edge of the button. And what happened was basically that, ow, this is, okay, this is pointy enough that it can stick into my hand. Wonderful. So what happened was that it pushed so hard at the button that it essentially pushed it off of where it was supposed to be. I'm actually impressed that it did it in the manner it did. You should be able to buy replacement boards for this, so that shouldn't be an issue. It's just gonna take longer, which is unfortunate. I'm really tempted to just try. But I think that's because I really like finishing things, and I can currently not finish this. To be fair, I should probably also take some time to try and see if I can shave a bit of this off so we can get the cable in there. Because this doesn't look right. I can actually see that it's thicker. I can see exactly where it's thicker. But once that is done, once I get a new part, all I need to do is push this back on and not break the part. And then screw the cover back on. Oh, whoops, sorry. And this is then a working Joy-Con again. The other one, as far as I know, is simpler because it doesn't have the AR reader. That should be the only difference between the two, with the exception of some of the components being a bit differently laid out. Some of the... we can open it. You know what? We might not work on it right now, because I'm feeling a bit dejected. I think that's the right word. Demotivated to continue right now, if I can't finish up anyway. But I can at the very least open it and show you guys what it looks like on the inside. But yeah, I knew this was a risk. I have not yet found a good way to circumvent the risk. I will say I've only failed twice out of 5 times now, which is not great statistics, but it could be worse. Also this, I might clean these buttons. They seem to have a bit of something on them. Probably dust from the looks of it, like hardened dust. This makes sense. Especially since they've just been playing around. But yeah, just opening it up to show you guys. Why is this one so hard to open? Oh, okay. When you have nails, you don't need those tools. Yeah, so you can see this one is very much the same, but with a slightly simpler layout here down at the bottom, which means that there are fewer cables to deal with. It's gonna have the exact same... Is this battery bloated? I'm gonna have to look at that. I think this battery might also require... This battery is fine. This one I think is... Actually, you can see that, right? Ah, focus. You can kind of tell, right? That battery does not look flat and flush. I think this battery might need a replacement as well, because that doesn't look right. Doesn't feel right either. I'm gonna have to investigate that further. If that is the case, I'm gonna have to buy a replacement. Well, no, I'm gonna have to ask my friend if they want me to replace the battery. That one should be easy. Because it's really just disconnected down here at the board and then put a new battery in. And I think you can buy the batteries officially still. But other than that, the rest of this controller is... I should have started with this, but then again, if I would have run into the same issue with the shoulder button. So yeah, I think this is where we're gonna wrap up. I know it's very anticlimactic, but unfortunately I am not a repair shop, so I don't have these kind of parts laying in spare. I kinda just have what I have. If I did this for more people, I would buy spare parts. Soon I might have spare parts, because at this point, it's probably not worth it to buy a single replacement board by itself. And let's be honest, if I'm gonna do this for the other controller as well, it might be best to buy like a small bag of them. But you saw that when we tested it, everything worked as it should. So the stick works and the buttons work. This button technically works right now, but it's broken, so I wouldn't be able to... I mean, it's assembled again. When I press it, the protective casing does move, though. I'm not gonna stand behind that. I'm gonna say that should be replaced, and I'm gonna do that, because I've messed that up. But the button itself still works, as you can see with the colors shining. And when I press this, colors also go off. So this entire controller is functional, except I broke one of the boards. Very minor thing. I'm either gonna see if I can find a creative way to solve it where it is solidly in place, off camera, or I'm gonna buy a replacement board. Probably a replacement board, again, because this is not my controller. I feel like I should maybe try and be a bit less creative, so that I give back something solid to the person who actually owns this. But aside from that, everything else, well, there was the thing with needing to shave off so this cable can go there. But aside from that, this controller is basically done. So, while it wasn't a full success because of the failure of this specific button, what did I set out to achieve with streaming this? Having fun, I guess. And also showcasing that this is, if you were just gonna swap the, this is actually important. If you're just gonna swap the stick, this will never be an issue. This only became an issue because I needed to detach, swap the middle board, middle shell, sorry. So this is a reshell problem. If you're never gonna reshell your controller, but only replace the stick, this is not gonna be an issue. So it's a really good showcase of how easy it is to swap a stick if you have drift issues, because the majority of what I did you don't need to do. But if you're gonna reshell, you're gonna have to, this specific thing, just this specific thing. Everything else is relatively straightforward, relatively easy, and can be done without much issue. But this here is the one point where if you're gonna service it, well, if you're gonna replace the middle board, middle shell part, sorry, this board you're gonna have to be so eternally cautious about. I thought I was, but I evidently wasn't cautious enough. It sucks, and I feel kind of bad about it. But you mess up, I'm gonna pay for a replacement part, and I'm gonna fix it off cam. I think this should still give a good insight in how things work. Anyone have any questions here at the end, or comments, or anything before I wrap up? I know it's not like a 2-hour stream. This could have been a 3-hour stream if we'd done the other one, but at this point I don't... Maybe we're gonna do a follow-up where we do the other one, or I'm gonna redeem myself and... I don't know, I'll figure it out. This was a very impromptu stream, so... But yeah, if anyone's still here and have any questions, I am open for questions. Otherwise, I'm gonna wrap up for today. So... I hope the music wasn't too overwhelming in the background. I tried to keep it very low, because I didn't want it to be the main focus. I need to keep this stick, because that was the one that was actually working, which I replaced. Just in case, because it still has some value. This one should work. It's the other one for the other controller. This bothers me. I think the exact same thing happened with my one of these purple ones, but they work perfectly fine. I did these years ago, so it's again, I think what I did right now is good enough that it will work, but I don't know the longevity of it, and that's the thing. Like, I wouldn't give, if I was doing this for a paying customer, I wouldn't give this back to them in this state, because that's not... Technically, if you're a capitalistic person, you would probably do that, because then you know that it would break again. But as a good person, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get a replacement board. So, the music was fine. Cool. Well, I am going to cut it short there then. We might return to this, we might not. It depends on how I feel about it. But I'm definitely going to wrap this up when I get the replacement part. But yeah, from here, just to showcase, the only thing's lacking really is getting this one back in there, setting this here where it needs to go, and then screwing this on top of once you've gotten that button in, and then you're done. There is, oh, and remembering this one. Plant obsolescence. Yeah, true. But yeah, I was a bit surprised the battery over here seems... I don't think that's good. It's not bad. Like, I've seen worse battery, but it definitely doesn't feel flush like it should when the other one. So I'm gonna have to talk to my friend about that. But yeah. I think that's gonna be it. That did not go as well, I mean, I kinda expected that it could happen, but it didn't go as planned. It's unfortunate. But you know, this is one of the risks of doing it yourself. So, but yeah, replacing this board, by the way, is super simple. Just screw it out and delodge it from the board itself down at the ribbon cable and then just put it back in. You might need to bend this to... Is it bent? No, it just flows up, so that's fine. So that's a relatively simple operation as well. Just need to remember to put it in proper so that it sticks. But as you can also see, you can test this as you go. Even if it's pulled apart, you can still test it on the switch itself. So it's not super recommendable because everything is exposed, but it's not like it's gonna fry you or anything since it's a very small battery. But these batteries are also different now that I look at it. Look at all the extra stickers this one has compared to this one. I'm gonna assume this is an older model. Probably an older model Joy-Con in general. Which is interesting. Would batteries from the original Switch already be bloating? That seems very early. Something to take into consideration. I might want to open my other Joy-Cons, my own Joy-Cons, and have a look at the batteries just to see if that is a common thing. But I'm not going to do that now. So, with that little misadventure abruptly interrupted by my own incompetence, I'm not a professional. I think that will have to do for now. Also, I've completely pushed this plate further down than it should be. As I said, for the other Joy-Con, it's basically the exact same process, just with slightly fewer steps and a fewer cables to deal with. Because aside from the lag of the IR sensor, it also doesn't have this antenna, which I don't remember what is for. Interestingly. But yeah, as you can see, it doesn't have that either. So you're dealing with a lot fewer cables, but you're still going to run into the exact same thing with the corner button, shoulder button. But with that, thank you very much for watching, everyone. The few who were here. I know it's an unplanned stream on an unplanned day on a really weird timing. But I will be heading off and apparently surfing to see if I can find somewhere to buy replacement parts. Until next time, please do take care, stay safe, stay oyster, stay awesome, and I'll see you on the other side. Bye for now.